Salve Regina, Mater misericordiae, vita dulcedo, estes nostra salve.
The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark.
Glory to you, Lord.
Jesus said to his disciples, Jesus and his disciples left from there and began a journey through Galilee, but he did not wish anyone to know about it. He was teaching his disciples and telling them, "The Son of Man is to be handed over to men, and they will kill him. And 3 days after his death, the Son of Man will rise." But they did not understand the saying, and they were afraid to question him. They came to Capernaum, and once inside the house, he began to ask them, "What were you arguing about on the way?" But they remained silent. They had been discussing among themselves on the way who was the greatest. Then he sat down, called the 12, and said to them, "If anyone wishes to be first, he shall be the last of all and the servant of all." Taking a child, he placed it in their midst, and putting his arm around it, he said to them, "Whoever receives one child, such as this, in my name, receives me. And whoever receives me, receives not me, but the one who sent me." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
I don't know if you caught the subtlety of St. Mark in this Gospel, but St. Mark says that the disciples were discussing who is the greatest. But when Jesus confronts them, he says, "What were you arguing about?" Arguing about who is the greatest. And so you can imagine these growing, inflamed egos starting to come out among themselves. You can hear the letter of James in the background, where jealousy and selfish ambition exists. There is disorder and every foul practice. Does that describe Jesus? And don't we have plenty of that around in the church today? And we might even have some of it in our own parish and our households, if we're going to be honest. No, Jesus is the greatest, and there he is in all his greatness and his glory. He's on the cross. He's the one who lays down his life for his friends. St. James goes on to say in our second reading today, "But the wisdom from above is first of all pure, then peaceable, gentle, compliant, full of mercy and good fruits, without inconstancy or insincerity. And the fruit of righteousness is sown in peace for those who cultivate peace." Now that's Jesus. And that is who we're supposed to be. That's the greatest. Among the greatest men I've ever met is my older brother, Bob. He's 2 years older than me. At 12 years old, I wanted to be like him. I built World War II tanks and airplanes because he did. I began to participate in exercise and fitness because I wanted to be like him. I tried out for the high school football team because I wanted to be like him. I went out for the track team because I wanted to be like him. The only problem is I was 20 pounds heavier and I had to be on the weight events, not the running team. I got into weightlifting because I wanted to be like him. I wanted to be a great guy like him so I could date pretty girls like him. What was the greatest about Bob, however, was that he was the first person to show me, someone my own age, what it was like to really love Jesus. Yes, my parents brought me to baptism. They brought me to church. They brought me to First Communion and confirmation, all true. They showed me a devout life of faith in family life. And because of their witness, it never occurred to me not to go to church. I actually enjoyed it. They witnessed a beautiful marriage, but my brother Bob showed me what the love of Christ does from the inside out. I wanted what he found. I wanted to be great like that. And as St. James said, but the wisdom from above is first of all pure, then peaceable, gentle, compliant, full of mercy and good fruits, without inconstancy or insecurity. And the fruit of righteousness is sown in peace for those who cultivate peace. And that's when my brother Bob stopped being the greatest to me. He began for me a long process of knowing that I was not the greatest either, which is still a work in progress. My brother Bob took himself down a few notches to introduce me to the greatest, Jesus Christ. But isn't that what it's all about? To bring one another to Jesus Christ. Whoever receives one child such as this in my name receives me, is what he says. How all the problems of our parish could dissolve if we master receiving one another as a child in the name of Jesus Christ.
Regina Celi, letare